poorest, lowest member of the food chain. It's the worst thing that could happen.
So, let's talk about what everyone's been waiting for since the last season wrapped up. Outer Banks Season 5 is finally here in 2026, and honestly, the hype surrounding this final chapter has been absolutely insane. If you've been following the Pogue since day one, you know that this show has taken us on one wild ride after another, and Season 5 promises to be the biggest adventure yet. The basic premise picks up right where we left off, with our favorite treasure hunters facing their most dangerous challenge to date. After all the chaos from the previous season, the gang finds themselves dealing with the aftermath of their actions while simultaneously being pulled into yet another mystery that could change everything. What I love about this setup is that it doesn't just rehash the same formula we've seen before. Instead, the writers have really pushed the boundaries, putting our characters in situations that test not just their treasure hunting skills, but their loyalty to each other and their ability to survive in a world that seems determined to tear them apart. The stakes have never been higher, and you can feel that tension from the very first episode. Now, when we talk about the main characters, we're obviously focusing on the core group that's been with us since the beginning. John B. continues to be the heart and soul of the Pogues, and his journey throughout this season really showcases how much he's grown since we first met him as that reckless teenager searching for his father. His relationship with Sarah has evolved in really interesting ways, and the writers have done an excellent job of showing how their bond has strengthened while also introducing new challenges that feel authentic to who these characters are. Sarah herself gets some incredible development this season, stepping out of John B.'s shadow and really coming into her own as a leader within the group. She's not just the kook who fell for a Pogue anymore. She's become an integral part of the team with her own skills and perspectives that often save the day. Pope, who has always been the brains of the operation, faces some really compelling dilemmas this season that force him to choose between his academic future and his loyalty to his friends. It's refreshing to see his character grappling with real-world consequences in a way that feels grounded, despite all the treasure-hunting madness happening around him. The dynamic between JJ and Kiara takes center stage in several key moments throughout the season, and I have to say, the writers really nailed the progression of their relationship. Without giving too much away, their chemistry has always been there, bubbling under the surface, and Season 5 finally addresses it in a way that feels earned rather than forced. JJ's character arc is particularly powerful this time around as he confronts his past and makes some difficult decisions about his future. Kiara, meanwhile, continues to be the conscience of the group, often serving as the voice of reason when the others get too caught up in the excitement of the hunt. Her environmental activism also plays a bigger role this season, which I think adds another layer to her character beyond just being the girl who chose the Pogues over the kooks. Cleo, who joined the main cast in the previous season, really solidifies her place in the group this time around. Her street smarts and unique perspective bring something fresh to the dynamic, and her backstory gets explored in greater depth, which helps us understand what drives her and why she's so fiercely protective of her new family. What's really interesting about Season 5 is how it expands the world beyond just the Outer Banks. The Pogues find themselves traveling to new locations, encountering new allies and adversaries, and discovering that the treasure-hunting world is much larger and more dangerous than they ever imagined. The show has always excelled at creating these larger-than-life adventures while keeping the emotional core grounded in the relationships between the characters. And this season continues that tradition beautifully. The new settings provide stunning backdrops for the action sequences and quieter character moments alike. And you can tell the production team really went all out to make this final season visually spectacular. Each location feels lived in and real, whether it's a tropical paradise hiding ancient secrets or an urban environment where the Pogues are completely out of their element. The contrast between these different worlds highlights how far our characters have come from their humble beginnings in the Outer Banks, while also reminding us of what they're fighting to protect and return to. The mystery at the heart of this season involves a legendary treasure that's been sought after by explorers and adventurers for centuries. I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say it makes all their previous hunts look like child's play. The historical research and mythology woven into the storyline is actually really impressive, blending real historical facts with creative fiction in a way that makes you want to Google everything after each episode. The clues are more complex this time, requiring the entire team to work together and utilize each person's unique skills. Pope's historical knowledge, John B's instincts, Sarah's ability to navigate high society, JJ's fearlessness, Kiara's resourcefulness, and Cleo's street smarts all come into play as they piece together a puzzle that spans multiple continents and centuries. What makes this treasure hunt different from the others is the personal stakes involved. This isn't just about the money or the glory anymore. There are connections to the characters' own histories that make the quest deeply personal for each of them. Speaking of personal connections, one of the new characters introduced this season is a mysterious figure who claims to have known John B's father. This revelation throws John B into emotional turmoil and raises questions about everything he thought he knew about his dad's disappearance. The actor playing this character brings such intensity and ambiguity to the role that you're never quite sure whether to trust them or not, which creates this wonderful tension throughout the season. Their interactions with John B are some of the most emotionally charged scenes in the entire series, forcing our protagonist to confront painful truths and make peace with his past in order to move forward. This relationship also serves as a catalyst for John B's growth, pushing him to become more than just his father's son and forge his own identity, separate from the legacy he's been chasing for so long. It's a mature storyline that shows how much the writers respect their audience's intelligence and emotional investment in these characters. Another significant addition to the cast is a rival treasure hunter who becomes both an obstacle and an unexpected ally at different points throughout the season. This character represents everything the Pogues could become if they lose sight of what's really important, serving as a cautionary tale about greed and obsession. The cat and mouse game between this rival and our heroes provides some of the season's most thrilling moments, with elaborate schemes and counter-schemes that keep you guessing until the very end. What I appreciate about this antagonistic relationship is that it's not one-dimensional. The rival has understandable motivations and moments of vulnerability that make them a fully realized character rather than just a cartoon villain. There are even times when you find yourself sympathizing with their perspective, which adds moral complexity to the story and forces the Pogues to examine their own motivations and methods. The production team behind Outer Banks Season 5 really outdid themselves this time around. The creators, who have been with the show since the beginning, clearly had a vision for how they wanted to conclude the series, and you can see that vision realized in every frame. The writing is sharp and purposeful, with callbacks to earlier seasons that reward longtime fans while still being accessible to newcomers. Every character moment feels earned, every plot twist has been carefully set up, and the pacing keeps you hooked from start to finish. The directors brought on for various episodes each bring their own style while maintaining the overall aesthetic and tone that fans have come to love. Some episodes are directed by returning directors who know these characters inside and out, while fresh voices helm others, bringing new perspectives to familiar dynamics. This variety keeps the visual storytelling engaging and prevents the season from feeling stale or repetitive. Netflix, the platform that's been home to Outer Banks since day one, gave the creators the resources to go big for this final season. You can see the increased budget on screen in the elaborate set pieces, exotic locations, and ambitious action sequences that would feel right at home in a theatrical release. The streaming format also allows the show to breathe, with episodes running as long as they need to tell the story properly rather than being constrained by traditional television time slots. This freedom benefits the storytelling immensely, allowing for more character development and world building without feeling rushed. The release strategy for Season 5 also generated a lot of buzz, with Netflix dropping all episodes at once so fans could binge the entire final chapter in one sitting if they wanted to. This approach sparked countless viewing parties and online discussions, creating a shared cultural moment that reminded us why we fell in love with this show in the first place. The story draws inspiration from classic adventure tales while putting a modern spin on the genre. You can see influences from The Goonies, Indiana Jones, and even literary classics like Treasure Island. But Outer Banks has always had its own unique identity that sets it apart from its predecessors. The show understands that the best adventure stories are ultimately about the characters and their relationships, with the treasure hunt serving as a framework to explore deeper themes about friendship, loyalty, class conflict, and the transition from adolescence to adulthood. Season 5 leans into these themes more than ever, using the final treasure hunt as a vehicle to bring all these elements together in a satisfying conclusion. The historical basis for the treasure adds an educational element that's actually pretty cool, encouraging viewers to learn more about the real history that inspired the fictional story. It's edutainment at its finest, sneaking in historical facts and cultural context while keeping you thoroughly entertained. The producers assembled for this final season include both longtime collaborators and some new names who brought fresh energy to the project. Their collective experience in both television and film is evident in the cinematic quality of the production. They clearly understood the pressure of delivering a satisfying conclusion to a beloved series and rose to the challenge admirably. Behind-the-scenes features and interviews reveal the passion and dedication that went into making Season 5 something special, with everyone from the showrunners to the production assistants committed to giving fans the ending they deserved. The collaborative atmosphere on set translated to the chemistry we see on screen, with the cast and crew functioning like a well-oiled machine after years of working together. This familiarity and trust allowed them to take creative risks and push boundaries, knowing they had each other's backs throughout the process. The creation story of this final season is actually pretty fascinating. The showrunners have mentioned in interviews that they always had a rough idea of how they wanted to end the series, even when they were filming the first season. However, the journey to get there evolved organically as the characters developed and the actors brought their own interpretations to their roles. The writers' room for Season 5 was apparently intense, with the team determined to tie up loose ends while also delivering surprising new developments that would keep viewers on the edge of their seats. They drew inspiration from fan theories and discussions, not to pander or give people exactly what they expected, but to understand what resonated with the audience and why. This dialogue between creators and fans resulted in a season that feels both surprising and inevitable, honoring what came before while boldly pushing the story into new territory. Beyond the main cast we've all come to know and love, Season 5 introduces several new faces that shake things up in interesting ways. There's a brilliant archaeologist who becomes an unlikely mentor to Pope, recognizing his potential and encouraging him to pursue his academic dreams even as he's caught up in yet another treasure hunt. This character provides a glimpse into the legitimate world of historical research and archaeology, contrasting with the Pogues' more, let's say, unorthodox methods of treasure hunting. Their scenes together are both educational and touching, showing Pope what his future could look like if he chooses that path. Then there's a charismatic boat captain who helps the Pogues navigate some treacherous waters, both literally and figuratively. This character brings humor and warmth to the season, serving as a father figure to the group and offering wisdom when they need it most. Their no-nonsense attitude and years of experience provide a grounding presence amidst all the chaos. We also meet a tech genius who helps the Pogues with some high-tech challenges they encounter this season. In a world that's becoming increasingly digital, even treasure hunters need to upgrade their skills, and this character represents that modern element. They're initially skeptical of the Pogues and their wild claims about legendary treasures, but gradually become drawn into the adventure and prove invaluable to the mission. The fish-out-of-water dynamic between this very digital character and our analog-loving Pogues creates some genuinely funny moments and interesting commentary about old-school versus new-school approaches to problem-solving. There's also a local guide in one of the new locations who knows the area like the back of their hand and has their own reasons for wanting to help the Pogues succeed. This character's knowledge of local legends and hidden passages becomes crucial to the hunt, and their personal story adds emotional depth to what could have been a purely functional role. The returning supporting cast also gets their moments to shine this season. The parents and authority figures in the Pogues' lives play more significant roles than in previous seasons, as the consequences of the kids' actions finally catch up with them in ways that can't be ignored. These adult characters aren't just obstacles or background figures anymore. They have their own arcs and development that parallel the younger generation's journey. The relationship between the Pogues and the adults in their lives evolves throughout the season, with both sides coming to understand each other better and finding new ways to support one another. Some of the most powerful scenes in the season involve these intergenerational conversations, where life experience and youthful idealism clash and ultimately find common ground. It's a mature approach to storytelling that acknowledges that growing up doesn't mean abandoning your dreams, but it does mean learning to navigate responsibilities and relationships in more nuanced ways. The actors absolutely bring their A-game for this final season, and you can tell they're all emotionally invested in giving these characters the send-off they deserve. Chase Stokes, as John B., delivers what might be his best performance in the series, bringing depth and maturity to a character who has grown so much over 5 seasons. There are moments where you can see the weight of everything John B. has been through reflected in his eyes, and other moments where his youthful optimism and determination shine through. It's a nuanced performance that captures the complexity of a young man caught between the boy he was and the adult he's becoming. Madelyn Cline matches him step for step as Sarah, bringing strength and vulnerability to a character who has had to completely reinvent herself multiple times throughout the series. Her chemistry with Stokes is as electric as ever, and their scenes together feel authentic and earned after everything these characters have been through together. Jonathan Davis gives Pope a quiet intensity this season that's really compelling to watch. His character has always been the most internally conflicted of the group, torn between different worlds and different futures, and Season 5 brings all that conflict to a head. Davis navigates these complex emotions with subtlety and grace, making Pope's journey one of the most satisfying arcs of the season. Rudy Pankow brings his signature chaotic energy to JJ while also revealing new layers to the character. There are moments of genuine pathos mixed in with the humor and recklessness, showing us the pain and insecurity that drives JJ's behavior. It's a performance that makes you laugh 1 minute and breaks your heart the next, which is exactly what JJ has always been about. Madison Bailey gives Kiara a fierce determination this season that's inspiring to watch. Her character has always been passionate, but Season 5 shows her channeling that passion in more focused and effective ways, becoming a true force to be reckoned with. Carlacia Grant, who joined the main cast in Season 2, really cements Cleo as an essential part of the Pogues family this season. Her performance brings toughness and tenderness in equal measure, and her character's journey from outsider to trusted friend to integral team member feels completely natural. The rest of the cast, both new and returning, all contribute to creating a believable world populated by interesting characters with their own motivations and stories. Even minor characters feel like real people rather than just plot devices, which is a testament to both the writing and the performances. The ensemble works together beautifully, creating a sense of community and connection that makes you care about what happens to everyone on screen. The chemistry between the main cast members is one of the show's greatest strengths, and it's never been more apparent than in this final season. Years of working together have created genuine friendships off-screen that translate to authentic relationships on screen. You can't fake the kind of easy camaraderie and natural banter that flows between these actors. The playful teasing, the inside jokes, the way they finish each other's sentences, it all feels real because the foundation of trust and affection between the performers is real. The romantic relationships in the show benefit from this too, with the actors having developed such strong working relationships that intimate scenes feel natural rather than awkward or forced. Whether it's a heated argument or a tender moment, you believe these characters have history together because the actors have that history of collaboration. The group dynamic is really where the chemistry shines brightest. Watching all 6 main cast members interact in a scene is like watching a well-choreographed dance where everyone knows their part and plays off each other effortlessly. There's a rhythm to their interactions that's incredibly satisfying to watch, with different combinations of characters creating different energies and dynamics. John B. and JJ have their brotherly bond. Sarah and Kiara have their complicated friendship. Pope and Cleo have their intellectual connection. And every other pairing brings something unique to the table. The way the characters support each other through challenges, celebrate victories together, and call each other out when necessary feels like real friendship. You get the sense that these people genuinely love each other, despite their differences and flaws, which is the heart of what makes Outer Banks work as a show. The new characters integrate into this established dynamic surprisingly well, which is a credit to both the writing and the performances. The newcomers don't feel like intruders disrupting the group chemistry. Instead, they complement and enhance what's already there. The veteran cast members clearly made an effort to welcome the new actors and help them feel part of the family, and that inclusive atmosphere comes through in the final product. There are wonderful moments of mentorship where you can see the established characters taking the newcomers under their wing, both literally in the story and figuratively in terms of the actors helping each other deliver their best performances. This generosity of spirit elevates the entire production and creates an environment where everyone can do their best work. Now, as we dive deeper into the plot specifics, it's important to understand the structure of Season 5 and how it differs from previous seasons. The creators knew this was the final chapter, so they approached the storytelling with a definite endpoint in mind. This gives the season a focused quality that some earlier seasons, which had to leave things open for potential continuation, didn't quite have. Every episode builds purposefully toward the conclusion, with no filler or wasted time. That's not to say the season is rushed. Far from it. The pacing is actually beautifully balanced, giving us both breathless action sequences and quiet character moments that allow us to spend time with these people we've come to care about. The structure also allows for more ambitious storytelling, with multi-episode arcs that weave together into a cohesive whole rather than the more episodic nature of some earlier seasons. The season opens with a time jump that immediately establishes how things have changed for our characters. Without getting into specific spoilers, let's just say that the Pogues are trying to live normal lives after everything they've been through, with varying degrees of success. Some have adapted to their new circumstances better than others, and there's an interesting tension between those who want to move forward and those who can't let go of the past. This setup creates immediate conflict and raises questions that drive the early episodes. How do you go back to normal after the extraordinary experiences they've had? Can they ever truly be just regular teenagers again? Or have their adventures fundamentally changed who they are? These questions feel especially relevant for a show that has always been about the transition from adolescence to adulthood and the loss of innocence that comes with growing up. The inciting incident that kicks off the main treasure hunt of the season comes from an unexpected place, catching both the characters and the audience off guard. It's connected to events from previous seasons in clever ways that reward longtime viewers, while also being explained clearly enough that the significance lands even if you're not remembering every detail from earlier episodes. This new quest forces the Pogues to reunite and fall back into old patterns, but they quickly realize they can't approach this the same way they approached previous adventures. They've grown and changed, and their methods need to evolve accordingly. This creates an interesting dynamic where they're trying to recapture the magic of their earlier treasure hunts, while also acknowledging that they're different people now with different priorities and responsibilities. As they begin piecing together the clues, the scope of what they're dealing with becomes apparent. This treasure is connected to historical events that have shaped the world as we know it, and there are powerful people who want to keep certain secrets buried. The Pogues find themselves up against adversaries who are smarter, better funded, and more ruthless than anyone they've faced before. This escalation makes sense for a final season. You want the stakes to be higher than ever and the challenges to push the characters to their absolute limits. The obstacles they face aren't just physical dangers, though there's certainly plenty of that. They also face moral dilemmas that force them to question their motivations and decide what lines they're willing to cross in pursuit of their goal. One of the locations the Pogues travel to this season is absolutely stunning, providing a visually spectacular backdrop for key scenes. The production team clearly scouted extensively to find places that would look amazing on camera while also serving the story. There's a sequence set in ancient ruins that's particularly breathtaking, with the camera work and lighting combining to create an almost mystical atmosphere. These location choices aren't just about pretty pictures, though. Each setting is chosen because it makes sense for the story and adds something to the narrative. The contrast between different environments also highlights the fish out of water aspect when our Outer Banks kids find themselves in exotic locales, creating both drama and humor as they navigate unfamiliar territory. The historical mystery at the heart of the season involves real historical figures and events, cleverly woven together with fictional elements to create something that feels plausible even when it's completely made up. The show has always done this well, grounding its treasure hunts in enough historical fact to make them feel real, while taking creative liberties to serve the story. Season 5 takes this approach to new heights, with the research and attention to detail evident in every aspect of the mystery. The clues involve multiple disciplines: history, archaeology, linguistics, even astronomy at one point, which allows different characters to contribute their unique skills. Pope's knowledge of history is crucial, but so is JJ's ability to think outside the box, Kiara's understanding of natural systems, and John B's instinctive pattern recognition. There's a really cool sequence where the Pogues have to solve a puzzle that requires them to work together perfectly, each person handling their part of a complex mechanism simultaneously. It's a great visual representation of how far they've come as a team and how well they understand each other. The trust required for this kind of coordination doesn't happen overnight. It's been built over years of shared experiences, and watching it pay off is incredibly satisfying. This scene also serves as a metaphor for the show itself and the message it's been sending all along, that working together and supporting each other is how you overcome impossible odds. No single person could solve this puzzle alone, just like no single character could carry the show alone. It's the combination of different strengths and perspectives that makes them successful. The personal stakes for each character make this treasure hunt more meaningful than just another adventure. For John B., it's about finally putting his father's legacy to rest and stepping out of that shadow to become his own person. For Sarah, it's about proving her worth independent of her family name and finding where she truly belongs. Pope faces a choice between the academic opportunities he's worked so hard for and the loyalty he feels to his friends. JJ confronts his fear of abandonment and his belief that he's not worthy of good things happening to him. Kiara grapples with her privilege and how she can use her advantages to make a real difference. Cleo must decide whether she's running from her past or running toward a new future. These individual journeys intersect with the larger treasure hunt, giving every character their moment to shine and their arc to complete. The midpoint of the season features a twist that completely recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about the treasure and the forces arrayed against our heroes. I won't spoil what it is, but I will say it's genuinely surprising while also making perfect sense in hindsight. The clues were all there if you were paying attention, but the reveal is executed in such a way that it still lands with impact. This twist raises the stakes even higher and puts the Pogues in an incredibly difficult position where every choice has serious consequences. The fallout from this revelation carries through the rest of the season, affecting character relationships and forcing everyone to reevaluate their assumptions about who they can trust. Speaking of trust, one of the recurring themes this season is the question of whether the Pogues can trust the new allies they've made or if everyone has their own hidden agenda. This creates a wonderful paranoid atmosphere in certain episodes, where you're never quite sure who's being straight with whom. The show plays fair with the audience, providing enough information to figure things out if you're paying close attention, but also keeping some cards close to the chest so there are still genuine surprises. This balance between giving viewers credit for their intelligence and still managing to surprise them is tricky to pull off. But Season 5 manages it beautifully. You feel smart when you correctly predict something, but you're also delighted when the show manages to outsmart you. The technological aspects of the treasure hunt represent an interesting evolution for the show. Previous seasons relied heavily on old maps, historical documents, and physical clues. While those elements are still present, Season 5 incorporates more modern technology in clever ways. The Pogues have to adapt to challenges that require technological solutions, which sometimes puts them at a disadvantage against better-funded rivals, but also forces them to be creative and resourceful. There's a fun sequence involving drones that shows how you can blend old-school treasure hunting with new-school tech in entertaining ways. The show doesn't go overboard with this. It's not suddenly trying to be a tech thriller, but it acknowledges that even treasure hunters in the 2020s need to understand technology to some degree. The emotional core of the season remains the relationships between the characters, particularly the romantic pairings that have developed over the course of the series. John B. and Sarah's relationship faces its biggest test yet this season, with external pressures and internal doubts threatening to pull them apart. What I appreciate about how the show handles this is that the obstacles feel real and meaningful rather than contrived drama for drama's sake. These are two people who love each other, but are also very young and still figuring out who they are individually. The question of whether they can grow together or if they'll grow apart is handled with maturity and nuance. There are moments of genuine conflict that feel painful because we've invested in this relationship. But there are also moments of tenderness and connection that remind us why we want them to work things out. The development of other romantic relationships in the show is equally well handled. Without spoiling who ends up with whom, I can say that the writers clearly thought carefully about what would be most satisfying for the characters rather than just giving fans what they think they want. The romance serves the character development rather than the other way around, which is how it should be. There are some genuinely swoon-worthy moments that will have fans screaming, but there are also realistic portrayals of the complications and challenges that come with young love. The show has never been a pure romance, but it understands that these relationships are a crucial part of the characters' journeys and treats them with appropriate weight. The friendships in the show get just as much attention as the romances, which is refreshing. The bond between John B. and JJ, which has been the emotional foundation of the series from the beginning, reaches new depths this season. There's a scene between them that had me genuinely emotional, where years of friendship and unspoken understanding come to the surface in a moment of crisis. Similarly, the evolving friendship between Sarah and Kiara, which started rocky and has had its ups and downs, finds a beautiful resolution this season. Watching these two strong-willed women who initially seemed to have nothing in common grow to genuinely respect and care for each other has been one of the series' most satisfying arcs. Pope and Cleo's connection, which started as allies and has developed into something deeper, also gets wonderful development that feels organic and earned. There are several action sequences throughout the season that are genuinely thrilling and impressively staged. The show has always punched above its weight in terms of action, but Season 5 takes it to another level with the increased budget and the creative team's desire to go out with a bang. There's a chase sequence that rivals anything you'd see in a big-budget action movie, with practical stunts and real locations combining to create something visceral and exciting. The choreography of these action scenes is excellent, clearly shot and edited so you can always tell what's happening and who's doing what. There's none of that shaky cam confusion that plagues a lot of modern action. Instead, the camera work is dynamic but clear, allowing you to appreciate the stunt work and the geography of the scene. What makes these action sequences work even better is that they're never just action for action's sake. They always serve the story and the character development, with the physical challenges reflecting the emotional and psychological challenges the characters are facing. There's a sequence where one character has to overcome a specific fear in order to save their friends, and the way that's staged makes the action meaningful beyond just the surface-level excitement. You're not just wondering if they'll physically survive the stunt, you're invested in whether they can overcome their internal obstacle. This marriage of external and internal conflict is sophisticated storytelling that elevates the action sequences from mere spectacle to meaningful narrative beats. The quieter moments in the season are just as carefully crafted as the big action set pieces. There are scenes of the Pogues just sitting around talking, reminiscing about their adventures, and dreaming about the future that are surprisingly moving. These moments of stillness provide necessary breathing room between the intense action and allow us to simply spend time with characters we've grown to love. The dialogue in these scenes feels natural and unforced, like actual conversations between friends rather than exposition disguised as conversation. There's humor and warmth and the kind of gentle ribbing that comes from people who know each other well and are comfortable together. These scenes might not be as flashy as the treasure hunts and chases, but they're essential to making us care about whether these characters succeed or fail. The visual storytelling throughout the season is exceptional, with the directors and cinematographers working together to create a distinct look for the show. Outer Banks has always had a sun-drenched, almost dreamlike quality to its visuals, and Season 5 maintains that aesthetic while also expanding the visual palette to include new environments and moods. The use of natural light is particularly impressive, with golden hour shots that make everything look magical and moody, dawn sequences that create appropriate atmosphere for tense moments. The color grading is consistent with previous seasons, maintaining the warm, saturated look that's become synonymous with the show. But there are also moments where the colors shift to reflect the emotional tone of a scene. The costume design deserves special mention for how it reflects character development throughout the season. The Pogues' style has always been a distinctive part of the show's identity, and Season 5 shows how their clothing choices evolve as they travel to new places and face new challenges. There's a thoughtfulness to what each character wears that goes beyond just looking good on camera. The costumes tell us about where the character is emotionally and how they see themselves at any given moment. When someone shows up wearing something unexpected, it signals a shift in their mindset or situation. The attention to these details creates visual consistency and helps with the storytelling in subtle but important ways. The production design creates believable worlds for the characters to inhabit, from the familiar locations in the Outer Banks to exotic new settings. Every environment feels lived in and real, with layers of detail that reward close viewing. The way different locations are styled tells us about the people who inhabit them and the culture they're part of. There's a wonderful contrast between the scrappy, improvised quality of the Pogues' home base and the polished, expensive environments they sometimes find themselves in. This visual representation of class difference has always been part of the show's identity, and it continues to be used effectively in Season 5 to highlight the societal divisions the characters navigate. The editing throughout the season is tight and purposeful, with each cut serving the story and the emotional beats landing with proper weight. The pacing within individual episodes and across the season as a whole is carefully calibrated to maintain momentum while allowing for character development. There's a rhythm to how action scenes, dialogue scenes, and atmospheric moments are arranged that keeps the viewing experience engaging without becoming exhausting. The editors also do excellent work with the flashbacks and time jumps that appear throughout the season, making it clear when and where we are without being heavy-handed about it. The transitions between timelines are smooth and intuitive, enhancing rather than interrupting the narrative flow. The sound design and musical score contribute enormously to the atmosphere and emotional impact of the season. The show has always had great music, with a carefully curated soundtrack that blends original score with licensed songs that perfectly capture the mood and the setting. Season 5 continues this tradition, with music choices that range from pulse-pounding to heartbreaking. The score swells at all the right moments, enhancing the emotion without overwhelming it. There are themes associated with particular characters or relationships that have been developed throughout the series, and hearing those themes return in new contexts in the final season is genuinely moving for longtime fans. The sound effects work is also incredibly detailed, from the crash of waves to the rustle of ancient documents, creating an immersive audio environment that pulls you into the world of the show. The dialogue throughout the season sparkles with wit and authenticity. The writers have such a strong handle on these characters' voices by this point that every line feels like something that specific person would actually say. The banter between the Pogues is particularly sharp, full of callbacks to previous adventures and inside jokes that make their friendship feel real. But the dialogue isn't just clever for its own sake. It serves the story and reveals character. There are conversations where what's not being said is just as important as what is, with subtext layered beneath seemingly casual exchanges. The ability to write dialogue that works on multiple levels, entertaining on the surface, meaningful when you dig deeper, is a sign of skilled writing. And Season 5 demonstrates that skill consistently. The themes that have run through the series from the beginning come to full fruition in this final season. The class conflict between kooks and pogues, which started as a simple us versus them dynamic, has evolved into a more nuanced exploration of privilege, opportunity, and systemic inequality. The show doesn't pretend to have all the answers to these complex social issues, but it takes them seriously and allows its characters to grapple with them in meaningful ways. The coming-of-age theme is brought to a satisfying conclusion as we see these characters truly step into adulthood, making difficult choices and accepting responsibility for their actions. The found family theme, which has always been at the heart of the show, is celebrated and tested in equal measure, ultimately affirming the power of chosen relationships and the family we make for ourselves. There's also a strong environmental theme running through Season 5, particularly in storylines involving Kiara. The show has always been visually in love with the natural beauty of the Outer Banks and the ocean, and this season makes that love explicit by addressing environmental threats and the importance of preservation. This theme is woven into the treasure hunt itself in clever ways, making the point that some treasures are worth more when they're protected rather than possessed. It's a mature message that adds depth to what could have been a purely materialistic quest for gold and jewels. The show suggests that real wealth comes from experiences, relationships, and preserving beauty for future generations rather than exploiting it for personal gain. The pacing of the season is expertly managed, with each episode ending on a note that makes you desperate to watch the next one. Even though all episodes are available to binge, the structure still respects traditional episode boundaries, giving each installment its own arc, while contributing to the larger seasonal story. The first few episodes re-establish the status quo and set up the mystery. The middle episodes complicate things and raise the stakes. And the final episodes bring everything to a head in satisfying ways. There are peaks and valleys in terms of intensity, with breather episodes that allow for character development placed strategically between more action-heavy installments. This rhythm prevents fatigue and keeps the viewing experience engaging from beginning to end. The mystery itself is structured like a really good puzzle, with pieces scattered throughout the season that gradually come together to reveal the bigger picture. There are red herrings and misdirections, but they're fair play rather than cheap tricks. The show trusts its audience to be actively engaged, paying attention to details and making connections, and it rewards that attention with a mystery that's satisfying to unravel. The solution, when it comes, makes perfect sense in hindsight, but isn't so obvious that you see it coming from miles away. That balance between surprising and inevitable is the hallmark of great mystery writing, and Season 5 nails it. As we move into the back half of the season, the personal stakes become even more pronounced. The characters are forced to make choices between what they want and what they need, between their dreams and their responsibilities, between loyalty and self-preservation. These choices are never easy, and the show doesn't offer simple answers. Different characters make different choices based on who they are and what they value, and the show respects that diversity of response rather than suggesting there's one right answer. This moral complexity makes the characters feel like real people rather than archetypes or mouthpieces for particular viewpoints. There's a particular episode late in the season that's structured differently from the others, taking a more experimental approach to storytelling. Without spoiling the specifics, this episode allows us to see events from a different perspective and fills in gaps in our understanding of the overall story. It's a bold choice that could have felt gimmicky, but instead it enriches the narrative and provides crucial context for the finale. This willingness to take structural risks in the final season shows confidence in the audience and in the strength of the story being told. Not every show would attempt something this ambitious, especially when approaching the finish line, but Outer Banks has never been a show that plays it safe. The relationships between the Pogues and the adult figures in their lives reach new levels of complexity and understanding in these later episodes. Parents who were once obstacles become allies, at least partially, as they recognize that their children have grown up and can't be protected from the world forever. This doesn't mean all the conflicts are resolved or that the adults suddenly understand and approve of everything the kids are doing, but there's a movement toward mutual respect that feels earned and realistic. The show acknowledges that parents and children can love each other deeply while still frustrating each other and failing to see eye to eye on important matters. This nuanced portrayal of family relationships adds depth and emotional resonance to the story. One of the most powerful themes in the season is the idea of legacy and what we leave behind. Several characters grapple with the legacies they've inherited from their parents and what kind of legacy they want to create for themselves. This is particularly relevant for John B., who has spent the entire series dealing with his father's legacy, but it applies to other characters as well. Sarah must decide whether to reject everything connected to her family or find a way to take the good while leaving the bad. JJ confronts what he inherited from his father and makes conscious choices to break negative patterns. Pope considers what it means to be the first in his family, to have certain opportunities and what he owes to those who came before him. These questions about legacy and inheritance give the season a weight and seriousness that complement rather than contradict the adventurous fun of the treasure hunt. The cinematography throughout the season is consistently gorgeous, with memorable shot compositions that stick with you long after the episode ends. There are images of the Pogues silhouetted against a sunset, navigating through treacherous terrain, standing together against impossible odds that are instantly iconic. The camera work serves the story, using different techniques to create different effects. Handheld shots for intimacy and immediacy, sweeping crane shots for grandeur and scope, tight close-ups for emotional intensity. The cinematographers clearly understand how to use the visual medium to enhance the storytelling, making choices that support the narrative and emotional beats, rather than just looking pretty for its own sake. The use of light and shadow throughout the season is particularly noteworthy, There are scenes lit by firelight, by dawn's early rays, by harsh tropical sun, by the soft glow of dusk, each creating a distinct atmosphere appropriate to the scene. The way characters are lit tells us something about their emotional state and their role in the scene. Heroes get different lighting than villains. Moments of hope look different than moments of despair, all communicated through the thoughtful application of lighting techniques. This attention to the subtle language of cinematography elevates the show above standard television and gives it a cinematic quality that's genuinely impressive. The color palette shifts throughout the season to reflect the emotional journey and the changing circumstances. The warm, saturated colors of the Outer Banks contrast with cooler, more muted tones in other locations, and these shifts help orient us geographically and emotionally. There's also symbolic use of color, with certain hues associated with particular themes or character arcs. This isn't heavy-handed or obvious. You don't need a film degree to enjoy the show. But for those who notice these details, they add additional layers of meaning. The color grading in post-production ties everything together, creating a cohesive visual experience that maintains the show's distinctive look while allowing for variation and development. The length of the season and its individual episodes was clearly chosen with care. At 10 episodes with varying runtimes, the season feels perfectly calibrated to tell its story without padding or rushing. Some episodes run longer when they need the time to breathe and develop their ideas fully, while others are more compact and focused. This flexibility in runtime afforded by the streaming format allows the story to unfold at its natural pace rather than being forced into rigid time constraints. The total length of the season gives us plenty of time with these characters while also maintaining narrative momentum and avoiding the sagging middle that can plague longer seasons. As we approach the finale, the tension ratchets up to almost unbearable levels. The Pogues find themselves in seemingly impossible situations with no clear way out. The stakes have never been higher, both in terms of the physical danger they're facing and the emotional consequences of their choices. The show does an excellent job of making you genuinely worry about these characters, even though logic tells you they'll probably be okay. This ability to create real tension despite our expectations is a credit to the writing and the performances, which sell the danger and the emotion so effectively that you can't help but be on the edge of your seat. The resolution of the main mystery is handled brilliantly, with revelations that are both surprising and satisfying. The treasure itself, when finally revealed, is everything the build-up promised and more. But more importantly, the journey to get there has changed the characters in fundamental ways that will affect their futures regardless of whether they actually claim the treasure. This emphasis on the journey over the destination has always been part of Outer Banks' DNA, and the final season honors that tradition while still delivering on the promise of an exciting conclusion to the treasure hunt. The emotional climax of the season comes not from the treasure hunt itself, but from the character relationships and the choices they make about their futures. There are conversations that need to happen, truths that need to be spoken, decisions that need to be made about who these people want to be and what kind of lives they want to live. These moments are given the time and space they deserve, with the show slowing down to let the emotional beats land properly. The performances in these scenes are uniformly excellent, with the actors delivering subtle, nuanced work that conveys complex emotions without excessive dialogue or melodrama. The final episodes bring all the threads together in a way that feels organic and earned rather than forced. Plot points from throughout the season and indeed throughout the series are paid off satisfyingly. Character arcs reach their natural conclusions, with everyone ending up in a place that makes sense for who they are and what they've been through. This doesn't mean everyone gets a perfect happy ending tied up with a bow. Life doesn't work that way, and Outer Banks has never been a show that pretends otherwise. But there is a sense of closure and completion, of journeys reaching their natural endpoints, that is deeply satisfying for viewers who have followed these characters through 5 seasons of adventures. The very final episode of the series is structured to provide both excitement and emotion, balancing action beats with character moments. There are callbacks to the very first episode of the series that bring the story full circle in poignant ways. These references aren't just nostalgia bait. They serve to highlight how much the characters have grown and changed, while also reminding us of where they started. The finale respects the intelligence of the audience, trusting us to make these connections without having them spelled out explicitly. There's a maturity to the storytelling that acknowledges we've been on this journey together and don't need our hands held. As the final episode reaches its conclusion, there's a montage sequence that shows us where each character ends up. These glimpses into their futures are handled with a light touch, giving us enough information to feel satisfied without over-explaining or robbing the characters of their agency and mystery. We see the results of the choices they've made throughout the season, the paths they've chosen, and the futures they're building for themselves. It's emotional without being manipulative, hopeful without being unrealistic, satisfying without being simplistic. The tone strikes exactly the right balance, leaving us with a sense of completion while also allowing our imaginations to continue the story beyond what we're shown on screen. The final scene of the series is perfectly chosen, calling back to imagery and themes from throughout the show while also pointing toward future possibilities. It's both an ending and a beginning, acknowledging that while this particular story is complete, life goes on for these characters beyond the boundaries of what we're shown. The last shot is visually beautiful and thematically rich, encapsulating everything the show has been about in a single image. When the screen fades to black for the final time, you're left with a mixture of satisfaction and wistfulness, happy with how the journey ended, but sad that it's over. The reception to Season 5 from fans has been overwhelmingly positive, with social media exploding with reactions from viewers who have been on this journey since the beginning. The show trends on Netflix in multiple countries, demonstrating its broad international appeal. Viewing parties and watch-alongs create a sense of community among fans, with people sharing their reactions and theories in real time. The finale sparks countless discussions and debates about character choices, thematic interpretations, and what happens after the show ends. This level of engagement speaks to how invested people are in these characters and this world, and how successfully the show has built that investment over 5 seasons. Critical reception has been similarly positive, with reviewers praising the show for sticking the landing on its final season. Critics note the maturity of the storytelling, the quality of the performances, and the ambition of the production. While some reviewers quibble with particular plot choices or feel certain elements could have been handled differently, the overall consensus is that Season 5 provides a fitting conclusion to the series. The show is recognized for what it achieved, creating a fun, engaging adventure series that also had something meaningful to say about friendship, class, family, and growing up. It's acknowledged as comfort viewing done exceptionally well, providing escapist entertainment while also offering substance for viewers looking for more than just surface-level thrills. The strength of Season 5 lies in its ability to balance multiple elements that don't always coexist easily. It's a treasure-hunting adventure that delivers exciting action and exotic locations, while also being a grounded coming-of-age story about real emotional growth. It's fun and lighthearted, while also addressing serious themes about inequality and environmental conservation. It provides wish fulfillment fantasy while keeping the characters and their relationships believable and relatable. This balance is incredibly difficult to achieve, and the fact that Outer Banks manages it consistently throughout its final season is a testament to the skill of everyone involved in its creation. Another major strength is the show's visual appeal and production value. For a streaming series, the production quality is genuinely impressive, with location shooting, practical effects, and attention to detail that rivals much more expensive productions. The show looks beautiful, with cinematography that takes full advantage of the gorgeous locations and creates a distinctive visual identity. This isn't just about throwing money at the screen. It's about making smart, creative choices about where to allocate resources and how to maximize the impact of every dollar spent. The result is a show that feels cinematic and epic in scope while maintaining the intimacy and character focus that makes television such a powerful medium. The performances across the board are another undeniable strength. The main cast has grown tremendously as actors over the course of 5 seasons, and their comfort with these characters and with each other shows in every scene. They're able to convey complex emotions with subtlety and nuance, making even outlandish situations feel grounded and real. The chemistry between cast members creates believable relationships that anchor the more fantastical elements of the plot. Supporting actors also deliver strong work, creating a world populated by 3-dimensional characters rather than cardboard cutouts. Even minor roles are cast thoughtfully and performed well, contributing to the overall quality of the production. The writing throughout the season is sharp and purposeful, with dialogue that sounds natural while also advancing the plot and developing character. The plotting is intricate without being confusing, with multiple threads weaving together into a coherent whole. The pacing keeps you engaged without exhausting you, and the balance between different types of scenes, action, dialogue, quiet character moments, prevents monotony. The writers clearly care about these characters and respect the audience, refusing to take shortcuts or rely on cheap tricks to generate drama. They've crafted a story that rewards attention and emotional investment, delivering payoffs that feel earned rather than arbitrary. That said, no show is perfect, and there are some weaknesses in Season 5 that bear mentioning. Some viewers might find certain plot developments a bit too coincidental or convenient, with characters stumbling upon exactly the information they need exactly when they need it more often than strict realism would allow. The show has always had a slightly heightened, almost fairy tale quality to its storytelling. And while this is generally a feature rather than a bug, there are moments where the contrivances become a bit too obvious. The suspension of disbelief required for treasure hunting adventures of this type is considerable, and occasionally the show pushes that suspension to its limits. Another potential weakness is that some subplots don't receive quite as much development as they could have. With such a large cast and so many moving parts, certain character arcs or relationships end up with less screen time than fans might have wanted. The show generally does a good job of balancing its ensemble, but inevitably some characters and storylines get more focus than others. Viewers who are particularly invested in specific relationships or individual character journeys might feel shortchanged if their favorites don't get as much attention in the final season. This is somewhat unavoidable given the constraints of the runtime and the need to wrap up the main story, but it's still a limitation worth acknowledging. Some critics have noted that the show's treatment of certain serious issues, while well-intentioned, can sometimes feel a bit surface level. The class conflict that's central to the show's premise is explored in interesting ways, but the show is ultimately more interested in adventure and character relationships than in deep sociological analysis. The environmental themes are present and meaningful, but they're not explored with the depth that a show specifically focused on environmental issues would provide. This isn't necessarily a failure. Outer Banks never pretended to be a hard-hitting social drama, but viewers looking for more thorough engagement with these themes might find the treatment somewhat lacking. The pacing, while generally excellent, does have occasional hiccups, where certain episodes feel slightly rushed while others meander a bit. The need to set up the final treasure hunt, develop all the character relationships, introduce new plot elements, and bring everything to a satisfying conclusion in 10 episodes means that sometimes things move very quickly, and other times we spend more time than strictly necessary on particular scenes. Most viewers probably won't notice these minor pacing issues, but for those who are sensitive to narrative rhythm, there are a few moments where the flow isn't quite as smooth as it could be. Despite these minor weaknesses, Season 5 is absolutely worth watching for anyone who has followed the series this far. If you've invested time in the first 4 seasons, you owe it to yourself to see how the story ends. The finale provides closure and satisfaction, answering the questions that need to be answered while leaving room for interpretation and imagination. Even if every single plot point doesn't land perfectly for you, the emotional journey and the character development are so strong that the season succeeds on those merits alone. The show has earned the goodwill of its audience through years of solid entertainment, and Season 5 delivers a conclusion that respects that investment. For newcomers who might be considering starting the show now that it's complete, Outer Banks offers a fun, binge-worthy experience with a definite endpoint. Knowing that the show has a planned conclusion rather than being canceled on a cliffhanger or dragging on past its natural lifespan makes it an appealing proposition. The whole series can be watched at your own pace, and the satisfaction of experiencing a complete story arc from beginning to end is considerable. The show requires some suspension of disbelief and an acceptance of its heightened reality, but if you're willing to meet it on its own terms, there's a lot to enjoy here. Season 5 specifically is recommended for fans of adventure stories, coming-of-age narratives, ensemble casts with strong chemistry, and beautiful locations. If you enjoy shows that balance humor and heart, action and emotion, escapism and relatability, Outer Banks delivers all of that. The final season brings the best elements of the show into sharp focus while providing the resolution that fans have been anticipating. It's a celebration of everything that made people fall in love with the show in the first place, while also pushing the characters and story in new directions. The legacy of Outer Banks will likely be as a defining show of its era, capturing a particular moment in youth culture and in streaming television. It arrived at the perfect time, providing escapist fantasy when people needed it most, and it built a passionate fan base that sustained it through multiple seasons. The show demonstrated that teen dramas could be both critically respected and wildly popular, that streaming platforms could develop their own distinctive hits, and that audiences were hungry for adventure stories with heart. Season 5 cements that legacy by providing a conclusion that honors what came before, while also serving as a satisfying endpoint in its own right. The show's impact extends beyond just entertainment. It's boosted tourism to the Outer Banks and filming locations, inspired fashion trends, launched or elevated the careers of its young cast members, and created a passionate online community of fans who have supported each other and the show. The positive representation of friendship, loyalty, and chosen family has resonated with viewers who see themselves in these characters and their struggles. The show has given people something to look forward to, discuss, and bond over, which is no small achievement in an era of fragmented media consumption and endless content options. Looking at the season as a whole, what stands out is the evident care and thought that went into crafting this conclusion. The creators clearly felt a responsibility to the fans who have followed the Pogues through 5 seasons of adventures, and they took that responsibility seriously. Rather than phoning it in or playing it safe, they took creative risks and pushed themselves to deliver something special. The passion and dedication of the cast and crew shine through in every frame, creating a final season that feels like a genuine labor of love rather than a contractual obligation or a cash grab. The themes of friendship and loyalty that have always been at the heart of Outer Banks are brought to their fullest expression in Season 5. The show asks what it means to truly be there for someone, to stick by them through good times and bad, to support their dreams even when those dreams might take them away from you. It explores the idea that real friendship means wanting what's best for someone even when that's hard for you, celebrating their successes even when you're struggling, and showing up when they need you no matter what. These themes are universal and timeless, resonating across age groups and cultural backgrounds. The coming-of-age aspect of the show reaches its natural conclusion as these characters who started as teenagers end the series on the cusp of adulthood, having learned hard lessons about themselves and the world. They've lost innocence, but gained wisdom, faced harsh realities, but maintained hope, made mistakes, but learned from them. The show doesn't pretend that growing up is easy or that all problems can be solved, but it does suggest that with good friends by your side and faith in yourself, you can navigate the challenges and come out stronger on the other side. It's an optimistic message delivered without being preachy or simplistic. The adventure and treasure hunting aspects of the show, while fantastical and heightened, serve as metaphors for the journeys we all take in life. The obstacles the Pogues overcome represent the challenges we all face: fear, doubt, betrayal, loss. The treasures they seek represent our own goals and dreams, the things we pursue that give our lives meaning and purpose. The clues they decipher are like the lessons we learn from experience, gradually revealing a bigger picture and leading us toward understanding. This metaphorical reading enriches the show without being necessary to enjoy it on a surface level, providing depth for viewers who want to engage with it more thoughtfully. The production journey of Season 5 was apparently challenging in various ways, with location shooting during a global pandemic, coordination of large set pieces, and the pressure of concluding a beloved series, all adding complexity. The fact that these challenges don't show on screen is a testament to the professionalism and skill of everyone involved. The seamless final product belies the enormous effort required to bring it to life, from the writers breaking the story to the editors assembling the final cut. Every department contributed to creating something greater than the sum of its parts, working together toward a common vision. The music supervision throughout the season deserves particular recognition for how it enhances every scene. The mix of contemporary songs and original score creates an emotional landscape that supports the visuals and performances. Music is used to heighten emotion, establish atmosphere, provide cultural context, and even comment ironically on the action. The musical choices feel authentic to these characters and their world rather than being imposed from outside, creating a soundtrack that fans will want to listen to independently while also serving the show perfectly. Key emotional moments are elevated by the perfect musical accompaniment, with songs that capture exactly the right feeling and become inextricably linked to those scenes in viewers' memories. The editing choices throughout the season demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of pacing, rhythm, and emotional impact. The editors know when to linger on a moment and when to cut away, when to speed up and when to slow down, how to create tension and how to release it. The assembly of individual shots into coherent scenes and sequences is an art form that often goes unnoticed when done well, and Season 5 features editing that serves the story invisibly while making smart creative choices. The use of montage, cross-cutting, and other techniques keeps the storytelling dynamic and engaging without becoming gimmicky or calling attention to itself unnecessarily. The costume and makeup work throughout the season maintains the established aesthetic while allowing for evolution and development. Characters' appearances reflect their emotional states and circumstances, with subtle changes in costume, hair, and makeup, communicating information about where they are in their journeys. The attention to continuity and detail ensures that everything looks consistent and believable, maintaining immersion even during the most fantastical sequences. The way characters are styled tells us about their personalities, their backgrounds, and how they see themselves, adding layers of visual characterization that complement the writing and performances. The stunt work throughout the season is impressive, with complex action sequences executed safely and effectively. The stunt coordinators worked closely with the directors and actors to create moments that are both exciting and believable, pushing the limits while maintaining safety. The blend of practical stunts and minimal, judicious use of digital effects creates action that feels visceral and real. You can tell that real people are really performing these feats, which adds weight and stakes to the action sequences. The commitment of the actors to performing their own stunts when possible adds authenticity, though of course, professional stunt performers handle the most dangerous work. The sound design creates an immersive audio environment that pulls you into the world of the show. From the ambient sounds of the ocean and wildlife to the specific sound effects of particular actions, every sonic element is carefully chosen and mixed. The sound design supports the visuals and enhances the storytelling without overwhelming it, creating a rich sensory experience. The use of silence is just as important as the use of sound, with quiet moments allowing for reflection and creating contrast with the louder action sequences. The technical excellence of the sound work might not be consciously noticed by most viewers, but it contributes enormously to the overall impact and quality of the production. The color correction and grading in post-production tie together all the visual elements into a cohesive whole. The distinctive look of Outer Banks, with its warm, saturated colors and sun-drenched aesthetic, is partially created in the grading process. The colorists work to ensure consistency across scenes shot at different times and in different locations, creating a unified visual experience. They also enhance the emotional impact of scenes through subtle shifts in color temperature and saturation, supporting the narrative without being obvious about it. This technical artistry is essential to creating the show's visual identity and maintaining it throughout the season. The visual effects work, while not the primary focus of a grounded adventure series, is effective when needed. The effects are used to enhance practical elements rather than replace them, maintaining a realistic feel even when depicting impossible situations. Whether it's environmental effects like storms and water, or more fantastical elements related to the treasure, the visual effects integrate seamlessly with the live-action footage. The restraint shown in the use of VFX is admirable, with the production relying on practical effects, real locations, and smart cinematography whenever possible, using digital effects only when necessary to achieve something that couldn't be done practically. As we come to the conclusion of this analysis, it's worth reflecting on what makes Outer Banks Season 5 work so well as a finale. It balances nostalgia for what came before with forward momentum toward something new. It honors the history of the characters and their relationships while allowing for growth and change. It provides closure on major storylines while leaving room for imagination about what comes next. It delivers the excitement and adventure that drew people to the show while also offering genuine emotional depth. It respects its audience by trusting us to make connections and understand subtext, rather than over-explaining everything. All of these elements combine to create a final season that feels both satisfying and bittersweet. Satisfying because it delivers what was promised. Bittersweet because it means saying goodbye to characters and a world that have meant so much to so many people. The final message of the season, and indeed of the series as a whole, seems to be about the power of human connection and the importance of staying true to yourself even when the world tries to change you. The Pogues started as a group of misfit kids with nothing to lose, and while they've gained and lost a lot over 5 seasons, What they've never lost is their essential identity and their loyalty to each other. The treasure they've been seeking all along turns out to be the friendships they've forged, the experiences they've shared, and the people they become through their adventures. It's a classic message delivered with enough freshness and sincerity to avoid feeling cliched. The show suggests that what we're searching for is often already within or around us if we're wise enough to recognize it. For viewers who have grown up alongside these characters, watching them over several years, there's something profound about seeing their story reach its conclusion. It's like saying goodbye to old friends who have been part of your life for a significant period. The emotional investment is real, and the show honors that by giving these characters and their stories the ending they deserve. Whether you binged all 5 seasons in a few weeks or watched them unfold over several years, the journey has been meaningful, and Season 5 serves as a fitting capstone to that journey. It's an ending that invites rewatching the entire series with new appreciation for the details and setup that were there all along, pointing toward this conclusion. In the final analysis, Outer Banks Season 5 succeeds as both a season of television in its own right and as the conclusion to a 5-season story arc. It works if you're watching it for the first time or the 5th time, if you're deeply invested in the mythology or just here for the pretty locations and attractive cast, if you're analyzing every theme and symbol or just along for the ride. This broad appeal, this ability to work on multiple levels for different audiences, is part of what has made Outer Banks such a phenomenon. The final season crystallizes that appeal and delivers one last adventure that reminds us why we fell in love with these characters and this world in the first place. As the sun sets on the Outer Banks one final time and we say goodbye to the Pogues, there's gratitude for the journey we've shared and hope that the spirit of adventure, friendship, and loyalty they represent will continue to inspire us long after the final credits roll.